Hi, welcome to another Shed Sessions, and I'm Nigel Howarth. Today we've got for you beef. Okay, so we've got a blade of beef, braised, almost sort of traditional style, in a red wine sauce, and then we've got an olive mash, which is really lovely, and that goes really, really well. And then, of course, at the end we've got some great wine to match with our food. So let's have a look at the ingredients, shall we? I've already sort of browned off what I call the Mirepoix, so that's the mixed vegetables for our braised beef. We've got a big chunk of bacon, and we've got a big chunk, a 1.2 kilo piece of blade, and I've wrapped that in cling film so that I can cut it. So I'm going to actually fry that off in the cling film, which you might find unusual, but anyway, let's have a look at that. Our beef and chicken stock, so equal quantities, 50-50. I've got some potatoes, and these are Maris Piper, Wilja, Maris Piper, King Edward's would be fine. We've got some baby onions, so some pickling onions. I've got some button mushrooms, some chestnut button mushrooms, a bit of parsley, and then baby leeks to garnish on the top. Okay, and in front of us here, to go into our beef sauce, we've got some yeast, which I really like. That just brings the beefiness through, and a little bit of orange peel and garlic. Here we're going to make what is classically called a brown roux. So we're not going to thicken it with starch. We're going to, well, it is a form of starch, obviously, but we're going to do a brown roux and make our sauce like so. What we've got to do first is marinate the beef, and we've got a lovely big Portuguese red. So we're going to marinate the beef in that overnight. So without further ado, let's get hold of the beef. Okay, so I want to cut 4 nice medallions really, and I'm looking at 250 grams. Okay, so, and blade of beef has that lovely sort of sinew that breaks down, and that breaks down into like a gelatinous joy, is the only way I can describe it. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so we've got our 4 medallions like so. Okay, and I've got my pan on here, so I've got it on a gentle heat, so I'm going to turn it up a little bit now. So I need it to be kicky, because I want these to be really golden brown. Now I'm going to put we're going to try and do this without using our extractor. But let's have a go. So I'm not going to season until it's in the pan. And then when it's in the pan and we turn it over, we can season it. So I'm going to I've got a little bit of sunflower oil in there, and I'm going to put some bacon fat in there, which I've collected from when I'm sort of grilling my bacon for breakfast, etc. And I've got a vacuum pack bag. You can use a roasting bag if you have no vacuum packer, because obviously not many would have. And put the bacon in there. I've got a bouquet garni with oregano, rosemary goes in, thyme, bay leaf, and half a chilli. Okay, so that goes in there like a so, so we can leave that there. And while that's frying away, we can make our sauce. Okay, so I'm going to turn the pan up here now to number 7, and I'm going to pop 40 grams of butter in there, and I've got 30 grams of flour. And just while I'm thinking, we're going to, when we actually do the mashed potato, we're going to bake those. Oh, where did that come from? We're going to bake those in the oven. So there you go. And you can see the cling film. I know you'll find this a bit alien, but keep that cling film on until we get to the next stage and then we can take it off because it will have kept the shape. If you do it without, you lose the shape of your medallions. So, the only difference is between making a bechamel base and a brown sauce base. This is an old-fashioned way, but I think it does make a better braised beef at the end of it. So I want to turn my butter into beurre noisette. So it wants to be nut brown. Okay. So you can see the butter starting to turn brown now. You just got to catch it on the edge because, of course, beurre noisette goes into beurre noir. And beurre noir, which is burnt butter, is no good to anybody. Not at this stage. So you see now? So in with your flour. You can see that boils up nicely. Like so. And I'm going to take it off there and just turn it down to number 5, which is rather nice. Okay, and then I've got my stock in here and I'm going to add my stock in a little at a time. And some of it's gelatinous and some of it's not. And you just let that nicely work in there. Keep your eye on your beef. So I can take the cling film now off the beef, so that comes off in one go. And again, you'll notice I haven't seasoned anything yet because I'm going to do that at the end. Because if you season beforehand, you can often run the risk of basically causing the beef to sort of bleed. That cools the pan and then you don't get that lovely brown colour. Okay, so I just want that to come up to the boil now and then I can beat that into a lovely smooth sauce. Which one have I not got? That one. Here we go. So that's all of those off. And just, again, you want a really nice colour. So I'm going to get my whisk there and just make sure I've got that all in. Okay. Another ladle full. And I can pop in the yeast there. And I'm going to put a little bit of Worcester sauce. If I can get the top off. Oh, there we go. It's a new bottle. There's always something sent to test you. There you go. Just a few drops of Worcester sauce. And then some glue. About 50 ml of soy. Okay. And I'll need to turn my sauce up now. So I'll put it into number 7. So that comes up to the boil. And then move your beef around now. You just get it on the sides. There we go. Just going to turn that back. Turn that back up now to number 9 just to finish it off. I'm concentrating now. Here we go. I think our beef's about ready now. So we can get it out, pop it into our bag. And like I say, if you've got a roasting bag's fine. Okay, and that'll just hold there while we get the rest of the job done. Pour off the excess there. Pop another bit of our stock into there. And then I've got a bottle of red, Portuguese red. And from the Douro, and then I've got a little bit of this is a raspberry vinegar, but it's not a normal, it's a bit caramelly. So I want to put that raspberry vinegar in there. You can see it's a dark colour, and I'm going to reduce that. That's about 30 ml. And basically now take that right back down like so. And that's going to be the marinade for the beef. Okay, so all that wine, but the crew are laughing. Who would ever, sacrilege, put all that wine in some beef? But it's gonna really taste good. Okay, so again, our sauce is coming up now. And basically we can whack that in now. That's a litre of stock in there. Pop that over there. Bring that up to the boil. And so what I want to do is reduce that right back, okay? And what I've got is one that I did yesterday. So you can see I vacuum packed it. Okay, so that would take us a good 10 minutes to do. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a little bit of a cheateroonie. So we're going to move that off now, and I can reduce that back later. Or the crew can drink it, because they probably would do. And the crew being James, of course. Then I'll put that pan on here, okay? And I'm going to pop our vegetables in, because we've browned those off now, so they can go straight into the pan. And you can hear that now just starting to come up to the boil. I've got my, have I put my aromats in? No, I can put my aromats into the sauce now. So you've got your garlic and your orange peel there, which I call aromats. Okay. Our potatoes we're going to bake in the oven for about an hour and then make our olive mash, and we're going to show you that. So what I need to do now is cut our beef open. So you've done this the day before, you've browned off your veg the day before, so you make it nice and easy, and just pop that, and all that beef's been in there for 24 hours, just smouldering in the fridge. If you can smoulder in a fridge, this is smouldering. And now you can see you've got those 4 pieces of beef, that lovely chunk of bacon. Bring that up to the boil, and then simultaneously our sauce here comes up to the boil. We add that into it, lid on, 160 for 3 hours. Bob's your uncle. So if you can do a little bit of work the day before, it really helps things, and that day of marination makes all the difference to your beef. You'll get a killer piece of beef if you're prepared to make that little bit of, extra effort, I'd say. So sauce is ready here. I just see there's a little bit there on the side, so I need to mix that in. Oh, that's smelling good. That's smelling good. Okay. And that looks good before it's cooked. Okay. And you can see it's coming up to the boil now. So we pop the lid on. Let's get it in the oven. 160 for 3 hours. And while we're at it, let's put the potatoes in. I've got the potatoes to go in the other oven. So we're going to bake those on 180 for just over an hour. Okay, so that's our baked potatoes for our olive mash. And the next job is, we've got our button onions, and we're going to, nearly lost one then, we're going to put them in there. Some boiling water, just cover them like so. and salt. I'm going to put a bit of coarse sea salt in there. Bit of sea salt in there, and we're going to pop those on there. Come to life, come to life. Okay, and then in here, we're going to pop some boiling water to cook off our leeks. So a little bit more. And we're going to blanch those off. So again, we just need a little bit of salted water, which is there we go. Right, and our potatoes should be ready now. So shall we get those potatoes out? Get the tray of potatoes out and pop them on there. We're going to pop the leeks in like so and just cook. They're going to cook for 3 or 4 minutes. Our onions are boiling away, our mushrooms are going to go on after. So we just need to now cut our potatoes open and then we're going to put some milk in the base and then scoop our potato into the milk. So we've got all the mash in there now. We've got all the potato in there now. And then we're going to pour some olive oil in, and I'm going to pop a little bit of salt. Salt goes in. A little bit of white pepper. And here's the magic bit. So we've got our masher here, our electric masher. And just before I do that, actually, I'm going to just make sure, just turn that down. The leeks are ready now. Okay, so I'm just going to pop the leeks there. Just leave them there just for a second. You can get rid of those. And so we can instant mash. Okay, so we've got our mashed potato now. You can see that's lovely, lovely and yummy. Just make sure you get everything out of the bottom there. And get rid of our machine. And then bring our potato together, and you've got a lovely mash coming along there now. A little bit of olive oil, a little bit more milk, back on the stove and work that in. I do like buttery mash, but I also like olive oil in mash. And I'm doing that because I've got such a fruity big red wine going in, and it just felt really right. So I can pop a lid on that. And pop that over there. I'll check now where we are with our onions, and it looks like so the onions are ready, mushrooms are in, and we need a little bit of seasoning in our mushrooms. Okay, so while we push that back over there, just making sure we've got everything. I think our beef's ready to come out now. And so carefully lift the beef out. And I think this is where, you can do one thing at once. So basically we've got our beef ready here now. What we need to do with that is take the beef out, pass the sauce off, and then reduce the sauce back down. Again, this reduction is a big thing. So just need to make sure that I've got enough pans and I've got everything there to do that with. Okay, so frying those mushrooms up, I need a little bit more oil in there. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to let them roast off a little bit, then add the onions to them, and then just let them slowly cook whilst we're reducing the beef down. Okay, so don't forget you've got a hot pan here, which looks pretty wonderful. Okay, and I need to now take the steaks themselves out and just pop them in the last vessel that I've got. So I've used everything else up really. So there you go. Just pop those in there, and don't forget that bacon, because we want that bacon to be part of the main course. Everything else really can go. Don't forget what I was saying. You can do those separately. You don't have the time frame that I need to work to, so you can do that all nicely and separately. You can have your beef all ready before you do any of that. So let's pour So I'm now just getting rid of the residue, all the juices, and not wanting to waste any of that beautiful sauce. And then we're going to pop that over there. And now we can put the sauce into our pan. And we can move that over there. Bring this here, and we need to take that sauce down now, and let's try and do that. So we need to reduce that down pretty quickly. We're now going to add our onions into our mushrooms, and we can give that a bit of colour, and it also gets two jobs into one, doesn't it? And I'm going to really give this sauce some welly here now, so I'm going to really reduce it down fast. And we've got our garnish starting to look like a proper garnish, and I'll stick that there. Okay, So all I've got here on my is some chopped parsley to finish off. I've got my mash. Just need to check that looks okay. I've got to take this bacon, right? And I'm just going to cut that bacon like so. Then I'm going to add that into my garnish at the last minute. Okay? Okay, so I've got my sauce reduced roughly by a half. Okay, so what I want to do now is carefully pop. And remember, these are very, very delicate now, so they're well cooked. So I want to pop those back in like so. And we can just pop that with the other cluster of pans on the back here. And I've just remembered I need to now. Oh gosh, how many pans can a man get onto a stove? So pop that there. And the first thing to go on is the beef, okay? So let's pick that one. And that one. Ooh, I nearly dropped that. The only thing panicky there. So, I need a little bit of, I'm just going to warm that spoon up a little bit before it goes into the mash. And then put sort of bit of a dollop on there, and I've got, oh gosh, to wipe that off now, aren't I? Just remove that, and then what I would do with the garnish is put the majority of it on in a bowl separately. Don't spoil everything for the sake of trying to cram everything on the plate. And let's go with, a couple of onions on. Let's go with a couple of onions on there and a bit of garnish. And the rest you can pop onto the plate and then pass it round. And then it also takes you less time as well. Because remember, if you're plating this up for half a dozen of you, you need to get a move on. Okay, and then finally, we've just got to sauce over, and don't slop it. You can see how lovely that sauce is. I'm looking forward to the wine already. Okay, and the pièce de résistance is you've got to put your leeks on the top and drape them over. And of course, because I've got asbestos hands, I can do that with my hands. And that's your braised beef in umptuous amounts of red wine with an olive mash. All there is to do now is pair it with a wine. And here we've got Tom from Worldly Wine Shop. Come on, Tom.
Hello, Nigel. All right?
I'm really well.
Good to see you again.
Right, okay. What wines have you got for us for this beef dish?
Okay, so we brought along a couple of options. So I hope you don't mind an extra glass of wine thrown in after a hard day at the stove.
I can cope with that just about.
Okay, so we've gone for two. Now we've got a big meaty dish, so obviously a nice rich red wine was the perfect match. But which style? Do we go with one from the New World with a little bit more fruit, a little bit more punch? Or do we go classic and go for an old school French wine? Or one of each?
That's nice that you've got that choice, isn't it? Yeah.
Which one do you think is going to work?
Well, I'm a bit of a traditionalist because I'm getting older now, or I'm old. But I probably think the French will work. But
okay.
let's what's the other?
Let's try them out. So
for
the New World, we've got South African red.
Right.
So what we've done is mix the two a little bit. We've got what's called a classic Bordeaux blend.
Right.
So that's using the grapes that you'd normally find in Bordeaux
Okay.
in France. Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc and the like.
Yeah.
But grown in South Africa.
Yeah. What
Super-
part of South Africa we're talking?
So here we're in Franschhoek.
Franschhoek. Love Franschhoek.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
that's the gourmet capital of South
Yeah, I
Africa
believe
as well, isn't
the
it?
restaurants and the
Oh.
winery restaurants are superb.
I dined at Rubens when I went to Franschhoek.
Okay.
I've only ever been once, but
I've
it's
not
a
had the
beautiful place.
opportunity, but looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Oh, you should go. You should go. Right, let's have a go.
Okay,
Let's have a go.
let's try that. So the wine we're about to taste is the Reineke Cornerstone.
Okay.
So winemaker Johan Reineke, superstar, bit of a sort of up-and-coming superstar winemaker down there. Just got awarded Wine Producer of the Year by Tim Atkin.
Okay, let's try it. Come on, let's
Brilliant. Let me get you a glass.
go. Oh, that's my sort of language. Oh. Right.
Okay, so Reineke Cornerstone, South African red.
Franschhoek.
Have a try.
Brings back many happy memories. Garden routes.
There we go.
Cape Town to Franschhoek.
You see that big fruit on the nose, though, as we were saying. This is a more modern approach to
You can
a Bordeaux.
you can taste the heat, can't you?
Hopefully not too much. Hopefully it's nice
Well,
and balanced still.
It's for me. It's balanced. It's peppery. It's got some good tannins there. It's really fruity, isn't
Peppery is a great word there. And
Yeah.
also that little bit of sort of coffee coming off there. Quite a bit of oak used on this in the winemaking. So you've got a nice
Yeah, I get
mellow
the-
style.
I think I get the coffee.
Should we try it with the
Yeah,
food?
let's have a go.
Let's get a bit of that.
You know,
You coming round to that?
I'm coming around to that.
Okay.
I'm seriously coming around to that, and I better keep my distance. But I'm
Yeah,
really
of
coming.
course, sorry,
I'm really,
all aware.
I'm really sort of getting. I think a fondness for that
Okay.
wine is the right word. It's
Brilliant. It does grow on you. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of fruit there. You can feel that. There's
And-
a lot of richness.
It's working with the food for me. I didn't think it would. I thought it would be too big, but yeah, it's working with the food.
Well, you
So-
remember how much red wine's in there?
Yeah.
Those sort of fruit red wine notes are going to come through somehow.
Okay. Shall we go for the next one?
Let's try it. So, second wine.
You just want to get close to me, and we can't do Tom.
My
Come on.
apologies. What we've got here, this is French wine from the Cahors region.
Right.
So south of Bordeaux, and made using Malbec. So as Malbecs become more and more
So
popular.
is that going towards Spain then, or down?
No, we're a bit further inland.
further
it's a quite
inland.
rustic part of France, and these wines were often overlooked.
Okay.
They were viewed as the sort of poor cousin of Bordeaux, but actually, modern producers using modern methods. This guy's another biodynamic or not organic producer,
Okay.
and this is Old Vine Malbec with a little bit of age in the bottles. This is 2014, and what I'm hoping is that we've got a sort of mellower, softer, richer style.
Yeah.
Without that big fruit note, but that will hopefully marry up more with the mushrooms, with those savoury notes that are in that dish. You get
That feels like that's going to work, doesn't it? It really
less,
does.
Yeah, less of that obvious fruit and these sort of earthy tones coming through.
Yeah. Let's have a go with the food. You know, it probably just takes it just
That's a
narrowly.
winner for me.
Probably just, but you know, I could drink the South African as well.
Good. I mean, great wine. Both work well.
Oh.
Both have got that nice, rich red wine character.
And the food's all right as well. So that's it from Tom and I. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Shed Sessions. Thank you.
Cheers.
Hi, I'm Nigel Howard. If you like what you've just seen, then subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on social media. Enjoy!